You're back with Bobby and JJ Radio. If you're just joining us, I'm Sarah, and JJ is finally back from Europe. Brought us lots of presents. And we've been learning a lot from Tommy Calvert, our Bexar County Commissioner. Now he's going to tell us about a huge issue that is dear to his heart, the human trafficking crisis. Now, Tommy, tell us why... how did this come to your attention that this is still a crisis that we're dealing with?
Well, I was at Tufts University, and I was studying international relations, and I was walking up a hill. I was a freshman, and I saw this flyer, and it said, "Come hear a former slave speak." And I literally did a double take. I said, you know what, is this person like 200 years old? Is this a reenactment play? And I realized it was serious. And so I went to a program. I heard from a former slave from Mauritania named Makhtar Tayeb. And my predecessor at the American Anti-Slavery Group in Boston, which was Dr. Charles Jacobs, and I was just moved, and I asked, how can I help? And so I have kind of a long story, but I'll try to make it short. That summer, I came home, and Fox News was trying to do KBB here. So I was in Boston at the time, and I came back for the summer, and Fox wanted to do a story about a press release they'd seen from the American Anti-Slavery Group about slavery in Sudan. And so they called me, and they said, Fox News knows you down there, and Michael Valdez and those guys want to do a story. I said, well, I can't do a story. I just saw you had one program. I mean, I just, it's like... me coming in here and then trying to do your show, the next week. I mean, and I said no, and I turned them down, and they said, come on, look, please, would you do it? And so this is, before email was real big, and I said, okay, well, fax me everything, you can.
Yikes.
So I did a cram
Carrier
study.
pigeon, one step up.
Sure, I could have put it on the Pony Express, but I did a cram study, and that interview went nationwide, and they said, thanks, Tommy. It was all over for every Fox affiliate, local affiliate in the country. Wow. And so I got involved because I'm a descendant of slaves, and it goes really to my DNA and my sense of spirituality and the fact that if I were enslaved, I would want somebody to help free me. Sure. And so, a lot of us have to ask ourselves, if we were living in 1860 at the height of slavery, would we have been abolitionists? And I know in my life the answer is absolutely, because I've done that. Right. And so I got involved, and I organized teachers and students against a Canadian-based energy company, Talisman, that was helping to fund the slave raids in Sudan. This is before George Clooney and all those guys went to Darfur. And so anyway, I became involved, and by the time I was 21, I was asked to lead the organization. I was the youngest director of a major international human rights organization in the world. Wow. Because the American Anti-Slavery Group was the first anti-slavery organization founded in America since Reconstruction. And so we were the godmother of the contemporary abolitionist movement, and we were the ones who helped pass the Trafficking Victims and Protection Act, the Sudan Peace Act, which is a very famous picture of George Bush and my colleague Francis Bach, who's kind of like the modern-day Frederick Douglass. He was enslaved for 10 years in Sudan, and they were on the front page of the New York Times. And so I led that. I went into Sudan to help free slaves on multiple occasions, risked my life, helped free over 6,000 people. I went into Burma, helped write the Burmese Freedom and Democracy Act. I helped get the first act through Congress that declared genocide in U.S. history. I helped write the Protect Act and got the first $50 million for trafficking, which started all of the new organizations that have been born. And I also did work with the entertainment industry on behalf of the U.S. government. With my PR firm, I represented the issue to the writers, producers, screen standards and practices people. I did workshops with those folks at 20th Century Fox in Beverly Hills and Lifetime Television in New York, and then I taught in the film schools at NYU and USC. Because America's favorite pastime is watching television,
sure.
The U.S. government needed more people to understand that human trafficking is existing. It's the fastest growing source of revenue for organized crime and terrorist networks. So we incorporated it into popular culture. So I was a consultant to shows like CSI Miami and Lifetime Television, and there were all kinds of movies and shows that came about because of my work in the background with the entertainment industry.
And so how can others help prevent human trafficking? Anyone that's listening right now?
Well, I encourage people to educate themselves about it. The U.S. government has a campaign called Look Beneath the Surface, and of course, if you're a healthcare worker, you need to know, if you're a nurse, about things to look for. If you're a social worker, even if you're in real estate, you may see something within a home, and you may see someone. I, for example, I was getting ready to speak. Let me see. I think I was getting ready to speak at MIT or right before the 4th of July, and I got a call from a woman in Boston, and I know we've got to go. Her name was Asnat Levy. She was out at the park, and she saw an Omani woman who was basically an indentured servant, and she called me right before the 4th of July. This was probably 2004, 2003, or somewhere thereabouts. And sure enough, we were able to go in, and I had to covertly plan a rescue for that Omani woman. And of course, it was in the Boston Herald. It was a big deal. But yeah, that's what I used to do.